Change is the only constant, and technology is the driving force behind it. The proliferation of the internet across the globe has brought us closer than ever and has put us on the anvil of a data revolution. With upcoming technologies like 5G promising even higher connectivity speeds and bandwidth, and the proliferation of devices that talk to each other, the future is connected. Today, Nielsen IQ and VCheer will take you through a glimpse of this future where the latest in technology, combined with our traditional methodologies, has allowed us to break down some of the last remaining barriers in measurement. Join me, Harsh Dewan, as I take you through this journey to do the new. Hello, everyone. We'll start by taking you through the context and the inspiration behind this proof of concept. We will then take you through the secret sauce that is the methodologies behind this prototype. And finally, we'll leave you with some points to ponder and a sneak peek into some of our ongoing experiments. Now, we all know that measurement is an integral part of performance evaluation, and we are only well aware of the gaps that exist. For example, do gated communities allow researchers in? Would a premium reservation only restaurant allow a researcher access to stock and purchase data? And what about that respondent in that small one room chawl living with family being asked questions about intimate hygiene brands? These challenges are there whether you're in Mumbai or Manila or anywhere else in the world and are out of a researcher's control. That is till now. Now imagine all this data being collected passively. A device that scans the product that's taken out of a visi-cooler in a gated community, a bottle opener that scans the brand of beer being opened in a premium restaurant, or a set of sensors that record a respondent's facial reactions and track eye movements. IoT has the potential to break down these barriers and more, and that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, the seed for this project stemmed from one of the challenges that we spoke about. We were challenging ourselves for a better read of the premium beer segment in Vietnam that was heavily skewed towards premium restaurants and bars, where access was a challenge. Now, we had tried known alternative solutions and we had a varied level of success on those. Enter VCheer. As part of our modernizing the data collection process, Nielsen IQ has been engaging with multiple technology companies in the startup ecosystem, and VCheer was one of them. They mentioned about this amazing IoT smart beer bottle opener, which was the rage in premium restaurants in Ho Chi Minh City, the business capital of Vietnam. Now, for us, this was the perfect opportunity to do the new and to evaluate if we could use IoT data to complement the data collected traditionally and come up with a hybrid measurement methodology. And this is what has been detailed out in the next section. Now, the essence of the entire experiment has been data fusion across multiple disparate sources of data, not replacing retail audit, but augmenting it. Now, at one end, we have data from an IoT device, and at the other end, traditional data sources, with secondary sources and web scraping filling in the gaps. All this has been fused together with the power of data science. I'll take you through the Nielsen IQ retail audit methodology in very simple terms. The first step is measuring the universe, the total number of retail outlets. From this universe, a statistically representative sample is derived, which is then classified into homogeneous groups. Outlets are recruited and data is collected on an ongoing basis. After exhaustive QC and process checks, this data is projected back to the universe, and finally you have the regular outputs on metrics like market share, sales, distribution, and so on. Now, the key challenge that we had was data collection in premium outlets, and this is where VCheer helped us plug the gap. I'll hand it over to Karim, the co-founder of VCheer, to talk about this rather unique device.
Hi, I'm Karim, the co-founder of VCheer. Well, with us, the magic begins at the data collection stage. This is where the VCheer Smart Opener comes to play. Our patented opener costs as little as a low-end smartphone but is packed with sensors, including anti-cheat pressure sensor that can detect only real bottles being opened. So, by simply placing the device on top of your bottle, the device is able to instantly take a picture of the cap of the crown cap, send it over our servers where using image algorithm we are able to identify the brand that's being opened. So instantly, by just opening your bottle of beer, we are able to know what brand was opened, where, and who opened it. Talking about who, this is where the second secret sauce of feature comes to play. We basically gamified and incentivized bartenders for every bottle they open. We give them into competition, giving them rewards, checking who is the bartender who can open the most bottles. It means even on a very busy Saturday night, every bartender has every incentive to open every bottle they just served. And this is what makes WeCheer special. It's not only about the technology, but it's also about how its usage benefit the whole ecosystem to make sure we capture every data point. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Karim. Now, multi-source data will have challenges and gaps. In this case, price was not captured by the device, and also the store profile details were different. Now, these two details were critical to classify the VGR outlets into the Nielsen universe for projection purposes. So, in the first case, we actually web scraped the menus and identified the price for the brands for which we had no information. And for the store types, we looked up at the product stocking and store profile to map those stores. With that, we were able to now get into the key exercise of replacing a Nielsen IQ store and injecting a VGR store into the Nielsen IQ panel. Now, our clients do not like the trends to be changed, so we had to do all this while minimizing the impact on the output. And it's just as simple as changing a wheel while driving. So what did we do? We used statistical techniques to find VGR stores that were the closest match to Nielsen IQ stores, such that they could be replaced with minimal impact when projecting to the retail universe. We used a methodology called the controlled impact methodology for store rollout, which essentially had three steps. The first, finding VGR stores similar to Nielsen stores, then pairing them up, and then finally determining the impact of replacement of each Nielsen store with a VGR store. Now, the underlying statistical concept is of distance from the perspective of store attributes like store turnover, brand share of category, etc. And all this is detailed in our paper. Please do have a look. Finally, the data went through the rigor of simulation, and in the output, we could clearly see a better representation of premium brands with little impact on market shares of the larger mass brands like Tiger, which is the market leader in Vietnam. We also had 9 new brands being reported, and the premium market share went up by around 9% as well, primarily at the expense of the lesser known brands. We also had positive feedback from the manufacturers, who acknowledged the better representation and also mentioned that it was in line with their channel understanding. Now, due to the resurgence of COVID and the impact it has had on the on-premise channel, the deployment is delayed. But having said that, this experiment has demonstrated the power of integration, and there are imperatives and implications for all of us. Now, stepping back and thinking, why did this work? And what are the implications for the industry at large? For example, for the folks in tech, it's not just creating high-tech products in isolation, but also collaborating with the research community and with analytics teams in creating complete solutions for marketers to leverage. For the research community and marketers, well, we should now together get onto the transition from singular measurement to omni measurement and therefore achieve the leap from evolution to revolution. As we close, we leave you with some points to ponder. A fundamental change in mindset across the spectrum, open, inclusive, and agile, is the need of the hour, with fail fast and learn fast the new mantra for success. The proliferation of low-cost, high-sensitivity, connected sensors has the potential to change how measurement is fundamentally done. And this journey begins together. We now leave you with a few glimpses of our ongoing experiments. Thank you for joining us.
Sure, Harsh. I'll take it over. So, more details about the device. I'm sorry, I just couldn't get my video started. I was going to show you the opener. So it's an IoT smart opener. The way it works, as I had mentioned in the video quickly, it has a camera sensor or camera basically that's taking a picture of the crown cap, so the top of the bottle. We have a pressure sensor that actually identifies the moment of opening that bottle. And using Wi-Fi, we're transferring the data to our cloud, where we basically process the image with our image, I would say, recognition algorithms that then turns it into a brand. So this is if you want the device per se. It is Wi-Fi enabled. It's transferring the data to our cloud, and at that moment of consumption, we capture the image. We validate that there was an actual real bottle being opened, or there was enough mechanical force to open a real bottle, and that's how we basically leverage the data moving forward.
I'll take the other question from Sushma
Yes.
on what are the other use cases, and Karim, please feel free because I mean you have a patent on the device, right? So what are the other use cases for the IoT device besides retail measurement? Is the other question from Sushma. Sushma, it's basically it's not just retail measurement that we look at. It's more about passive measurement. IoT, the reason what IoT how it augments measurement is because it collects data passively and it reduces the kind of human biases that might come in. And this is what we've talked about in the presentation as well. The bias when a respondent is sitting in front of you, there is still that uncontrollable bias. And even if we deploy something like a POS device, during high frequency times, there will be a bias that the shop owner or the person who's manning that device, he might not scan those low value items. So it's not just retail measurement. It has implications even for understanding consumer behavior, because the device per se, it breaks down the barrier for access. It breaks down the barrier of bias. So imagine one of the things that we showed towards the end of a presentation was the trying to map poses, and that's something which it's something which is upcoming, and that is something which can be done passively, right? You're able to figure out what product the consumer is reaching out, what is the eye level the consumer is looking at. So all these can be done passively, and that's where IoT plays a big role. Retail is just one part of it, if I were to put it. I hope that answers part of your question.